Okay, hello. We're filming at a slightly weird angle because I did not prepare for this. But I just passed the 6-month mark since my dad's passing, and I have reached the end of an unofficial container that I set for myself. I really let myself fall apart the past 6 months. I let every aspect of my life crumble to absolute dust. The only thing that I continued to show up for was my work, which I love and very much gave me a reason to live during what was otherwise a very, very challenging time. And I didn't notice much the 6-month mark, day of. I didn't notice. I only pieced it together in the past couple of days. So my dad passed on March 25th. So September 25th was the anniversary. And we buried him on the 27th. So that was the anniversary of that, September 27th, which was this past Saturday. But in the days that have followed, it feels like my brain came back online. For the past 6 months, it has felt like my insides were constantly on fire and screaming at every second of every day. And sometimes it's my focus would be elsewhere and that would just be happening low grade in the background. But it was always happening. And on Monday, there's a hummingbird over there. On Monday, I took an accidental walk. I tried to go to a literary event that I got the date wrong of. So I took myself all the way out to Beverly Hills and got to the venue, and the doors were locked. And I was like, damn. I was 2 minutes late, and I was like, oh my God, they really locked the doors the minute that it starts. This is crazy. And then I looked down at my ticket and I realized that it's actually at the end of October. So I just took a walk around that part of town by myself, and I felt actual quiet for the first time in well over a year. And I realized through the contrast of that how loud the screaming was, and that finally it was ending. So now that I've reached that point and my insides are not screaming, I also am done letting myself kind of neglect every single aspect of my life and sometimes just letting things crumble by lack of engagement. And sometimes I have been intentionally trashing things, in that sort of funny way that we act out when inside feels so terrible that it's I have to make a mess outside so that there's a mirror image of it. And so I sort of started to try this series 3 months ago. I was I'm going to do a rebuilding my life after grief series. But I turned the camera on, immediately started sobbing. And I was okay, it's maybe not time to do this. But now at this point of clarity and quiet, it feels like time to start building a future again. My dad got diagnosed last March, so March 2024. But he did not tell my sisters and I until May. And so from May 2024 through March is when he passed, but really up until now, my whole life has felt like a landslide. Everything just crumbling. And, anticipatory grief is crazy. You live with this loaded gun in the house all the time. That's it's going to go off at some point, but you just have no idea when. Isn't that Chekhov's gun in theater? It's if there's a gun on stage, the rule is that it has to go off. In any case, so it was living constantly under that threat of imminent death and knowing that it inevitably is coming but having no idea when. So it felt really difficult to plan and to build for anything because I was constantly something's gonna explode. So how can I build anything when I know that I'm gonna move through this explosion and that so much is gonna be destroyed in the wreckage of that? So my life has felt suspended for a year and a half. It's felt impossible to build towards a future, and it's just been a maintenance phase of can I maintain what is and not let myself fall apart so much so that it's irreparable. And now we're here, and now it's time to start building again. So I don't know where I'm going to start, but today I went to therapy. And I pulled a scab off of an old wound. So I unearthed a little bit of anger, and I'm going to have to burn some of that off soon. So I think I'm going to start running, possibly, which I think will feel good. I want to be gentle about it, but I want to get some aggression out of my system. And Afterwards, I went to a juicery and I got myself a juice. I really wanted just orange juice, but they didn't have it on the menu and I was like afraid to ask for it because I thought that it was childish, which is so goofy of me. I should have just asked for orange juice, but the closest thing that they had was just like a citrus drink that had ginger in it. It's a little spicy. I'm mostly just drinking a very large ginger shot, but that's okay. I'm going to trust that I need that too. It's at least it's making me feel something. I'll tell you that. Like I said, I was really lenient with myself the past 6 months, and I've been letting myself play little phone games for this whole time, and like, you know, binge watch Parks and Recreation, and just like lay around and eat a bunch of sweets and all of the things that I needed from like a gentle sort of comfort perspective. But it's reached that point now where it's like, okay, the comforting element of this has gone, and it's time to bring some motion and some life back into my experience. So I don't want to overwhelm myself. I don't want to commit to too many things, but I do want to start this gentle vlogging series, rebuilding my life after grief. And I will be posting these on YouTube, which I have been saying that I would do for a very long time and never doing. But I am right now leading a group called The Spotlight. Some of you watching this are in it, and maybe some of you watching are not. But in that, we are challenging ourselves to step into a larger and or different spotlight than we've experienced before. So this will be my way of doing that. I'm going to post on YouTube some vlogging content, and I also am going to restart my podcast with my partner. Our podcast is called Boundless, and that is with Dimitra. And it's a lot of fun when we actually do it, but I have been a bratty little creative partner for the past year or so. Every time we sit down to do it, I end up so in my head that it's impossible for us to move forward. And so that is the other challenge that I'm placing upon myself, is that we're going to get back to that collaborative experience together. And I've been feeling really solitary. My grief just feels so, I mean, obviously grief is always personal. Also, I hope the audio quality on this is not awful. I really didn't think about it. Our goal this week was just to post even if it's shitty. So I'm just going to let it be the thing that it is, and I'm not going to overthink it. My grief has felt really solitary. It's been hard to like let anyone into the experience of it, even with my family and like my sisters or my mom. We're all like grieving the same person, but our experiences of my dad are all like really unique and individual, and our ways of processing grief are really unique and individual. So sometimes it's nice to connect with each other over it, and other times it kind of almost widens the chasm and the lonely feeling. And it's felt really difficult to let anyone who like doesn't to let anyone who like doesn't know my dad into that experience. So I've really just like wanted to be alone, and I haven't actually like really let myself be. Sorry, I found the most isolated part of this park, but there are still some people walking by. But that's okay. That's another form of allowing myself to be in the spotlight, right? I can let people witness me doing this, and that's okay. I actually felt really inspired. I was sitting at the pool the other day, and a girl came down. It was only my girlfriend and I at the pool, and another girl came in and sat down, and she set up her phone and started like, I don't know if she was FaceTiming someone or if she was filming content, but she like sat down and started like filming herself. Like she was like showing off her drink. I was like so inspired that she just like came in and sat down near us and started doing that without like feeling seemingly worried about the fact that we were there and could see her. And she like wasn't giving off that awful vibe when people are like, get out of here, get out of here. I want this space to myself. Like she just was like sitting down and like doing her own thing. And that felt really inspiring to me. So I'll take a page out of her book. But yeah, so I haven't really been letting myself actually truly, I've been letting myself be alone, but I've not been letting myself spend the actual quality time alone that I have been craving, which is ultimately what I've been looking for. That like, I just like want sacred time where I'm like connecting more with these parts of myself that feel so raw that I just like I can't even let other people into that experience. And I can't describe it even. Like it just like goes beyond words. And so part of my goal for let's say the next 6 months. I'm gonna make this a goal for the next 6 months, this Rebuilding My Life series. Part of my goal is to spend some time like out in the world exploring on my own. And like right now I'm in a park that I really love, and it's near where I go to therapy, so I'll come here a lot of times after therapy. But I want to find more spaces like this that like feel familiar and comfortable, and little corners of the city that feel like I'm able to connect more deeply through. So we'll see what that looks like. I want to find some like new creative outlets during this season as well. I'm trying to read more, which I'm succeeding at so far. I downloaded the Libby app on my phone, and so I've been reading before bed, and that feels great. And yeah, I'll have other goals as things come, but like I said, I don't want to overwhelm myself. My goal right now is just, can I record this? Can I explore a little? Can I read some books? Can we slowly, gradually build back a life that I want to be living again? And so that's the goal of this content series, and also to expand my platform and to let you guys see me be just like more my human self. I had a psychic reading with a friend the other day. Just like, you gotta stop asking like, what's the wisest thing that I could say right now? And I was like, because that has so much been the foundation of anything that I've put out. It's been like, how can I offer like a message of wisdom? How can I say like something of high value to people right now? Which like is a really valuable question to ask, I think. And it oftentimes has like generated very wonderful answers for me. And I've made a lot of things that I'm really proud of using that as my kind of creative prompt. But what she's spot on about is that limits me also. And it puts a lot of pressure on me to always be like my wisest self, my sagest self. And that's just not who I am all the time, which is someone in Spotlight was saying like that they observed that I also have like a cyclical relationship to posting. That sometimes I'm present and sometimes I'm not. Well, I'll tell you the reason why. Because I put that pressure on myself that everything I put out has to come from a place of like sage wisdom, I then cannot post when I'm not embodying that. So when I'm like going through something, I'm not yet deriving any like wisdom out of my experience, I'm just in the thick of it, I can't post from that place. I can only post after that period of time is over and I have like alchemized it into wisdom. I don't regret this. I like the platform that I built having done that. And I like the messages that I've offered as a result of doing that. But it has kept me from being present or allowing other people to see the other parts of myself that aren't just that. And I don't know how I'm going to feel letting more people see the other parts of myself. It feels vulnerable. Anyway, my point is I don't necessarily regret that I've done any of that, but I'm curious to see what happens if I change it. And I'm curious to see if it changes the kind of connections that I form or draw in as a result of just being a little bit more real, raw, unfiltered. We'll see. I've always wanted to vlog, and I've never let myself do it. And so I think that it's time. So this is that. Okay. Thanks for coming with me on this little park date. And I'll see you guys soon.